There's a pile of something sitting next to your coffee maker right now. Dark, damp, smells faintly of the best part of your morning. And in about 30 seconds, you're going to scrape it into the trash. You've done it hundreds of times. Most people do it thousands of times across a lifetime without ever stopping to ask what they're actually throwing away. Because it doesn't look like a resource, it looks like the leftover part, the used up part, the part that already did its job and has nothing left to give. That's the label talking. The material never agreed. 7 uses. None of them are on any package. The last one changes how you look at every cup you make from this point forward. Subscribe and leave a like. Let's get into it. Before the uses, what you're actually holding when you hold a handful of spent coffee grounds. Coffee grounds are not the flavor of coffee. They're the structure that held it. After brewing, the grounds still contain approximately 10 to 15% of their original caffeine content, a compound that the coffee plant evolved specifically as a chemical defense against insects and competing plants. Caffeine is toxic to most insects at the concentrations present in coffee tissue. The grounds also contain nitrogen, approximately 2% by dry weight, which is one of the 3 primary macronutrients that determine whether plants grow or don't. The cellular structure of spent grounds is porous, millions of microscopic chambers that absorb and hold molecules that contact them. The same structural property that pulled flavor compounds into your water during brewing continues to pull other compounds from whatever environment the grounds are placed in. None of this stopped working when the brewing stopped. The grounds sitting in your filter right now are a nitrogen source, a chemical pest deterrent, a porous absorbing structure, and several other things we're about to cover. The function didn't end. You just stopped looking for it. US 7, Soil Amendment and Composting Accelerator start here, because most people have heard this one. And most people have the mechanism wrong, which means they're using it wrong. Coffee grounds improve soil not primarily because of acidity, the common claim, but because of nitrogen. Nitrogen is the macronutrient that drives vegetative growth. Without sufficient nitrogen, plants produce less leaf mass, less root development, and less fruit. It's the first number on any fertilizer bag for this reason. At 2% nitrogen by dry weight, spent coffee grounds deliver meaningful nitrogen content directly to soil or compost. In a compost pile specifically, grounds are classified as a green material, meaning high nitrogen, which balances the carbon-heavy brown materials like dried leaves and cardboard that most home compost piles have in excess. A compost pile with the right carbon-to-nitrogen ratio breaks down in weeks. One that's carbon-heavy without adequate nitrogen breaks down in months. Beyond nitrogen, earthworms are strongly attracted to coffee grounds in soil. Earthworm activity aerates the soil, improves drainage, and further accelerates decomposition. Adding grounds to a garden bed doesn't just feed the plants. It feeds the system that feeds the plants. The grounds you've been throwing away are fertilizer, not metaphorically, by the same mechanism as the product in the bag at the garden store, just without the markup. US 6, Odor Absorber. The same porous structure that absorbs flavor compounds during brewing absorbs odor compounds after it. Odor molecules are volatile organic compounds. They reach your nose because they evaporate into the air and travel. Porous materials with high surface area intercept those molecules and hold them before they reach the air. Dry coffee grounds in an open container function as a passive odor absorber in any enclosed space. A refrigerator, a car, a storage container, a closet, footwear. The mechanism is identical to activated charcoal odor absorbers sold at $8 to $12 per unit. The performance is lower, Grounds are less processed than activated charcoal and have less available surface area per gram. But the cost is zero because the grounds already exist. The specific application in a survival context is less obvious than it sounds. In any scenario where you're trying not to draw attention, through smell rather than sight, coffee grounds placed in specific locations manage the odor signature of a space. Stored food, medical supplies, any material that has a detectable smell in a situation where smell is a liability. Dry them first. Wet grounds grow mold. Dried grounds absorb odor. The difference is 1 afternoon of airflow. US 5. Abrasive cleaner. Coffee grounds have a specific particle size and hardness that makes them an effective mild abrasive for cleaning surfaces that need physical scrubbing without deep scratching. The particle hardness of ground coffee sits below the hardness of most metal surfaces, ceramic, and glass, meaning it removes buildup and residue without leaving scratches on those materials. Applied to a cast iron pan, a grill grate, a pot with baked-on residue, or a sink surface, grounds scrub effectively with less surface damage than steel wool or commercial abrasive cleaners. The additional benefit: grounds carry residual organic acids from the coffee itself, primarily chlorogenic acid, that help break down grease and food residue chemically. At the same time, the grounds are working mechanically. Scrub and chemical action simultaneously. From a material that costs you nothing beyond what you already paid for breakfast. The relevant context: in any scenario where commercial cleaning products are unavailable or rationed, maintaining clean cooking surfaces matters for food safety. Contaminated cooking surfaces grow bacteria. In a situation without medical access, bacterial contamination from unclean cookware is a real risk. The grounds in your filter are a cleaning supply. They just don't come in a bottle. Use 4. Insect and pest deterrent. This is where the caffeine content becomes directly useful. Caffeine is a natural pesticide. The coffee plant evolved it for this exact purpose: to deter insects and competing plants from consuming or encroaching on its tissue. At the concentrations present in spent grounds, caffeine is toxic to ants, slugs, snails, and several other common garden and household pests through direct contact or ingestion. Ants specifically. Ants navigate using chemical trails. Caffeine and the other volatile compounds in coffee grounds disrupt those trails and repel foragers from treated areas. A line of dried grounds along a door frame, windowsill, or garden bed perimeter creates a chemical barrier that most ant species avoid. Slugs and snails. The abrasive texture of dry grounds creates physical discomfort on their soft bodies. At the same time, the caffeine creates chemical deterrents. Both mechanisms work simultaneously. Applied around the base of plants in a garden, grounds deter slug feeding without applying any synthetic chemical to food you're planning to eat. Before commercial pesticides existed, coffee grounds and similar plant-derived deterrents were what people used. The mechanism didn't stop working when Raid appeared on shelves. It just stopped being necessary for people who could buy Raid. Use 3. Skin exfoliant and hygiene. The same particle size that makes grounds useful for scrubbing pots makes them useful for scrubbing skin, at a lower pressure that removes dead surface cells without damaging the underlying tissue. Physical exfoliation, removing the outer layer of dead skin cells, improves skin barrier function, reduces the risk of ingrown hairs and minor infections, and is the basis of a commercial skincare category that generates billions in revenue annually. The commercial version is typically ground walnut shell, sugar, salt, or synthetic microbeads suspended in a cream base. coffee grounds in a small amount of water or oil achieve the same mechanical outcome. The particle removes dead surface cells as it's worked across skin. The caffeine component adds a secondary effect. Caffeine applied topically causes vasoconstriction, narrowing of small blood vessels near the skin surface, which temporarily reduces puffiness and surface inflammation. The practical application in a survival context. Skin integrity is medical infrastructure. In any scenario where access to medical care is limited, minor skin infections, the kind that start from a small abrasion, a rash, or compromised skin barrier, can escalate quickly without the treatment that would normally stop them. Maintaining basic skin hygiene with available materials when commercial products are gone is a medical decision as much as a comfort one. The grounds that would have gone in your trash this morning are a skincare product. They've always been a skincare product. You just didn't need to think of them that way until now. US 2. Earthworm lure for fishing bait. This is the use that connects everything else on this list to the most fundamental survival resource: protein. Earthworms are strongly attracted to coffee grounds in soil. The nitrogen content, the organic acids, and the moisture retention of grounds create a substrate that earthworms actively seek out and concentrate in. The application is specific and practical. In any area with soil access, a garden, a field, a forest floor, burying a quantity of spent coffee grounds 3 to 5 centimeters below the surface and leaving it for 12 to 24 hours concentrates earthworms directly at that point. Return to the marked location and dig a small area around the grounds. Earthworms in concentration. No digging through large areas of soil. No guessing where they are. Combined with the $3 fishing line discussed in the earlier video on this channel, passive protein from any nearby water source, the grounds become part of a system. The grounds attract the bait. The bait catches the protein. The protein keeps you functional. From the pile next to your coffee maker to a functional food production system with nothing purchased in between. That's not a survival trick. That's understanding what materials actually do versus what the label says they do. Now, before the last one, if you're watching this and thinking seriously about being more self-sufficient, not just with coffee grounds, but across every domain, I put together a complete survival guide and protocol for the first 30 days of a serious disruption. The practical knowledge. The decisions. The order that things need to happen in. If this video is useful, that guide will give you a framework for everything else. The link is in the description. Now, use number 1. This is the one that will change how you look at the pile next to your coffee maker. Ad 1. Natural dye and camouflage. Coffee grounds boiled in water produce a concentrated solution of tannins and melanoidins, the brown pigment compounds that form during the roasting process. That solution stains permanently. Paper, fabric, wood, leather, skin, all of them absorb the pigment from a concentrated coffee solution and retain it after drying. The color is a warm brown, ranging from light tan to dark espresso depending on concentration and contact time. This is not a temporary tint. The tannins bond to the fibers of whatever material they contact through the same chemistry that makes coffee stains on clothing difficult to remove. The applications in a practical survival context are specific. Fabric. White or light-colored material that creates high visibility in natural terrain can be permanently dyed to earth tones with multiple immersions in strong coffee solution. The resulting color is irregular and mottled, not uniform, which is more effective as camouflage than uniform dye because it breaks up the outline that makes objects visible. Paper. Maps, documents, and written records that need to appear aged or that need to be marked in a way that resists water can be treated with coffee solution to stain the paper itself rather than relying on ink alone. Skin. For face and hand camouflage in field conditions, coffee solution applied to exposed skin creates temporary but durable earth tone coloring that washes off with soap and extended water contact. Wood. Furniture, tools, and structural materials can be stained to blend with natural surroundings or to protect raw wood from light weathering. Before synthetic dyes existed, before the chemical industry produced the color range available in any fabric store, plant-derived tannins, including coffee, tea, walnut husks, and oak bark were the standard materials for textile dyeing across every culture that worked with fabric. The technique is 4,000 years old. The material producing it is currently sitting next to your coffee maker, waiting to be thrown away. A handful of grounds, a pot of water, a slow boil for 20 minutes. You now have a dye, a camouflage medium, a document treatment, and a wood stain from the pile that was about to go in the trash. The average American household brews approximately 540 cups of coffee per year. A standard drip coffee maker uses approximately 10 grams of grounds per cup. That's 5.4 kilograms of spent coffee grounds per year going directly into the trash. 5.4 kilograms of nitrogen-rich fertilizer. 5.4 kilograms of natural pest, deterrent. 5.4 kilograms of abrasive cleaner. 5.4 kilograms of odor absorber. 5.4 kilograms of earthworm attractant. 5.4 kilograms of skin exfoliant. 5.4 kilograms of natural dye. All of it free, all of it produced as a byproduct of something you were going to do anyway. All of it functional by mechanisms that have been understood for centuries. The only thing that changed was calling it waste. 7 uses, all of them working by chemistry and biology that didn't stop being real when the grounds left the filter. None of these are hacks. They're what the material has always been capable of, before the trash can was invented, before the category of waste existed for something that still has work to do. The grounds were never used up. You just stopped looking for what came next. Leave a like if this changed what happens next time you make coffee. Subscribe. There's more of this coming. Know the place before you need the place.